Hey, this is your host, Todd DeVoe, speaking here from Business Continuity Today, brought to you by Titan HST. And we're going to be discussing, COVID-19 and how to reopen your businesses. And realistically, how do we get the economy of the United States up and running again? And there's a few things that we can really do to make this occur. The Washington Post was reporting that millions of American workers are suffering from what they call an economic whiplash. That is, they're thinking that they're finally returning back to work and the government comes back in and has to shut things down because we have an increase in the COVID cases. As a matter of fact, let me pull this thing up really quick. Something like California had around, what is that? I want to give you the right numbers here. They had 60,000 new cases here in the last couple of days, and they went back then. They closed bars, they closed gyms, and 6 other states have done something similar regarding closing restaurants and bars and make it to where you can only do business on the outside, right? You can no longer have people sitting on the inside. The problem is people weren't wearing masks. They're sitting there talking, they're doing things, and it's a spreading of the coronavirus. And this goes back into a little bit more that there was a report by a bunch of infectious control professionals, right? And they wrote a letter to their journal. And basically what they said here is that the COVID or the coronavirus, if you will, stays airborne for up to 6 hours in particulates. So the WHO is saying they're not sure if it's aerosol or not, but these guys are saying, hey, this is the information that we have. Wearing masks is very, very, very key. So how do we protect our employees and our customers as we try to reopen up the business? And the authors of the Prediction Machines, the Simple Economics of Artificial Intelligence, have come up with 2 basic solutions: information-based and always on. And I want to discuss the information-based solutions first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the always on solutions. So there's information-based, right? So it is what it is. It's information. There are a variety of different ways of being able to collect this information. Basically, you want to know who is infected and who is not infected, right? So those are like your basic 2 things that you need to know. You could do this by sending people in to get their nasal swabs every day, but that takes a long time to get these tests back. They get you could do temperatures, but the problem with taking people's temperature is that fever isn't always part of the symptoms that they have, and they may be asymptomatic but still shedding, and they've been exposed to COVID, so you don't know if the temperature works or not. So what the solution that we've come up with at Titan HST is to do a passive contact tracing. And what exactly is this? Passive contact tracing is pretty simple. We have these beacons that you can put out, and as your phones cross them, they pick up that you were there. Say like in the copy room or whatever, right? Somebody else comes in an hour later. They come in and they get contact traced that way as well. Said, okay, here it is. They get picked up, and then I say, hey, I self-report, right? And through the app, I can self-report, or call up my HR department or my boss and say, hey, look, I'm got COVID. Now you can go through and check all these other people who have crossed with them. And now you're doing a service for your employees by saying, hey, look at Todd had COVID. He came into contact in these areas. You've come in contact just after he's been there. And then you can get tested and also self-quarantine to stop that spread. It's as simple as that. This is what we're trying to do. There's other ways you could do this as well. If you take a look at what Google and what Apple are doing with their phones as well, they're putting contact tracing in here already in a way, but what it requires is phone to phone crossing, and it's not always going to happen where the phone to phones cross. So this is why you need to go out and work with a company like Titan HST to be able to track what's going on. If you take a look at this, and if you say there's a 1% chance of an infected person gets to the door, right? It's a 1% chance. Is that a risk that you're willing to take? What, and each person has to come up with what risk that they're willing to take. Each company, I should say, and so I don't think you're ever going to get to zero, right? You're never going to get to zero. At this point, we do not have a vaccine, right? We do not have necessarily a way to stop COVID from going, right? From everything I've read, we're probably about a year away, maybe even more, before we could actually have an effective vaccine. But the idea of doing contact tracing and to be able to do the machine learning, the artificial intelligence, to be able to put this information together, to be able to ensure that people are not being exposed, I think is really important. And that's what we're calling the information-based solutions and the passive, being able to do passive contact tracing. The other option, right, is having people log in every time they walk into a room, right, on paper, right? And how effective is that? Then you have to make sure somebody's sitting there logging people in, that type of stuff, or otherwise you're trusting that they're going to log in on their own. And that's the way you've seen people do it in the past. Listen, everybody, contact tracing isn't anything that's scary. It's not Big Brother taking a look at everything that's going down, right? We've been doing it for millennia as far as that goes. We actually know who the first person was to have the flu that created the Spanish flu, quote unquote, right, of 1918, the Great Influenza. We know it was a Army cook at the base that infected 521 other soldiers that went onto a Navy ship that went to Portugal, right? And that ship actually came back to Philadelphia, and we all know the rest of that story. So contact tracing, we know it. Normally, it's an investigative tool for afterwards, but we can use it now to help prevent disease from spreading. Always on solutions are your other part of it. And always on solutions are things like, you've gone to the store or the market where you've seen plexiglass barriers in between you and the person who's ringing you up. They're putting plastic over the keypads, or wiping things down, stuff like that. Also, the kiosks that they have for being able to clean your carts at the market, right? Those things like this, I think, those are the always on solutions. Being able to have hand sanitizer throughout your office. Now, we've probably seen this in most places. Kind of hand sanitizer has been very popular since we've had the SARS outbreak, 10, 15 years ago now, maybe longer, the SARS outbreak. And so we've seen businesses already doing hand sanitizers around on the walls and stuff. And you can have these kiosks put out there, have masks. If you go to places now, they have people sitting there handing masks out, have masks readily available for people. Things like that. Those are the always on solutions. Now, these do impose some additional cost to businesses, right? And these costs, at the end of the day, are protecting your employees and protecting your customers, and making it very, it's very important to be able to open up. If we do not do this, everybody, this thing could go on for a long time, and we need to be able to shorten the lifespan of COVID. Now, these are your choices. As a manager, you're responsible for crafting your organization's information, how it goes out there, and how you collect it and what you do. Okay. Making your company policy to ensure the safety of your employees and your customers. You're going to have to decide how much information that you want to collect on who's infectious and who's not, and how you process that. All right. These are some of the things that you have to do. So, but together, right, these decisions will determine whether your business will survive at the end of the day, whether you can thrive at the end of the day. And waiting for treatment and the vaccine, that is not the way to do it. You will not be able to continue doing your business if you're waiting for the vaccine to come out. These decisions involve calculated trade-offs. They really do. And you have to understand the risk and this willingness to innovate. The next phase of the COVID-19 recovery is really up to you. As business leaders, we are the ones that are going to open up the economy again. So until next week, this is Todd DeVoe. Stay safe, stay ready.